Mr. O'Malley, welcome to our studio. So my first question is, you have been serving as a UN resident coordinator in Kazakhstan almost a year now. And during this time, I assume you had a chance to learn more about the country. So how would you assess Kazakhstan's role in international stage, and especially its initiatives in promoting peace?
Well, you're right. I've been very fortunate to be here since November, and I have to say I've really enjoyed myself. People have been incredibly welcoming. It's been great to see different parts of the country. Unfortunately, mostly that's been Astana and Almaty for me, but I've really enjoyed my time. And you know, as you said, getting acquainted with the different things that Kazakhstan has been doing. I mean, Kazakhstan has this very long legacy of its positive role in nuclear disarmament, but also in modern day peace initiatives. So for example, the very important support it provided to UN peacekeeping in the Golan Heights. So these are really crucial endeavors. And I think if I look at what Kazakhstan has been doing, it's been a reliable partner. It's been a constructive player in the international arena as well. And, you know, it has ambitions to try to make the world a better place. And I think that those things have been proving themselves out during the time that I've been here.
Okay. And a UN Center for Development of Central Asia and Afghanistan will open in Almaty soon. How do you think, how it's going to help in this regard?
Well, I think it's really important. I mean, I'm really, I think Kazakhstan deserves a lot of credit for coming up with the idea, building the coalition of support, and ultimately more than 150 member states co-sponsored the resolution to establish the center. I think it's also very important if you think that it will support in one way or the other more than 120 million people across Central Asia and Afghanistan. All of these people in one way or the other are interconnected. We know communities that live on one side of a national border or the other, but there are these deep, deep interconnections. And all of the countries are on their own path to sustainable development and at a different stage in that development. So I think the center can be extremely helpful in sharing experiences and driving that the pace of sustainable development forward.
And today we can say that middle powers doing as much as they can to resolve these problems. So how you can evaluate their initiatives?
Yeah, no, I think that's such an interesting question. I mean, for very obvious reasons and for good reasons, we often focus on what the so-called great powers are doing and how they're acting. And sometimes what gets lost in that is what the middle powers or even the smaller countries are doing. So if you think, for example, my home country, Canada, which was very much involved in an initiative called Responsibility to Protect, which was about the protection of civilians, the countries of Ireland and Niger, when they were on the UN Security Council, they brought the question of climate change onto the Security Council's agenda, and now you have these different initiatives that Kazakhstan is taking, for example, through the center. So middle powers and even small countries can play very important roles, and that's why, you know, the security or the Secretary General very much looks to countries like Kazakhstan or Brazil or others, if I'm thinking in the context of climate change, to show the way at times maybe when the commitment from others isn't as strong as it should be.
Yeah, and the escalating global situation is threatening to security of all countries. Right? And President Tokayev has spoken about the need for UN reforms. What do you think should be reconsidered within the organization?
Yeah, no, I think you're right to say that there's a lot of concern if we look around the world, if we look at conflicts which seem to be hard to resolve, whether they're in Gaza or in Yemen or in Sudan, in Haiti, we see these different conflicts around the world. And you know, what member states did, including Kazakhstan, last September in the General Assembly, they agreed on a pact for the future, which tries to begin the process, which will begin, I hope, the process of reforming some of those issues. So, for example, this long question about the role of and the membership of the Security Council, which was fixed at the end of the Second World War, the Great Patriotic War, in 1945, but has not been updated to the new realities of our world. So it's changing things like the Peace Building Commission. So there's a number of things on the peace and security side that need to be done. At the same time, and the Secretary General has been very clear, and Kazakhstan has been very supportive in this, that the UN itself needs to reform. And the Secretary General has launched a major initiative internally to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness, review the mandates of the UN. So I think the whole thing for us is to do the best possible job we can as UN staff, as international civil servants, to meet the needs of member states, to work with member states to achieve their goals, and then, as you correctly said, focus on these questions, these interconnected questions of peace and security, development, and human rights.
Mm-hmm. So today, what measures is the UN taking to establish and promote peace?
Yeah. So again, like if I use the Pact for the Future as an example, that the Secretary General has been moving forward with initiatives like trying to get the Security Council reformed, first of all, to give it the legitimacy it needs for the 21st century, I would argue. And then if you see the efforts that the Secretary General has been making, I'm going to talk about things I was involved with before I came to Kazakhstan, trying to bring peace to the Sudan, for example, the efforts that continue in Syria, where, for example, Kazakhstan played an important role hosting the Astana talks, which were about a new constitutional order for Syria. So, I mean, those would be things, the existing peacekeeping missions in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, in the Central African Republic, and a number of other locations. The efforts to reduce tensions between India and Pakistan, for example. So, I mean, I think what you see is, from the UN side, a Secretary General who's very involved in those issues, in trying to promote the maintenance of peace and security, the respect for the Charter, the respect for international law, and working closely with member states to achieve those things.
Okay, perfect. Astana annually hosts the Astana Economical Forum. So, in your opinion, how do you think, is it useful, like such kind of dialogue platforms?
Yeah, well, first, I'm really excited. This is the first time that I've been here for the forum. It's clear we have a number of world leaders who are coming. We have a number of eminent personalities who are coming. The former UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, for example, 9 very senior UN officials, the SRSG for Afghanistan, the heads of FAO, of WIPO, of IOM. So we have a lot of very important UN people who are coming as well. I think what's important about these kind of events is sometimes they allow for breakthroughs, for new thoughts, for people to put new ideas on the table. I think it's important to bring people together so that they have these sorts of dialogue forums, and that others can listen and learn. And what I really appreciate about the forum is that it's if you want, it's accessible for people in Astana. If you want to try to register and to try and attend, that's something you can do. So not only do we have these high-profile people flying in, but we also have Kazakh experts and members of the public who can, maybe be inspired by their participation.
Yeah, and the world now is like facing the threat of trade war. So in this case, like Astana Economical Forum, can it make a good contribution to solve this problem?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fascinating that, and as you say, we do have these heightened trade tensions right now, and the Secretary General himself has previously expressed a lot of concern about the idea that, we could see the world dividing into different trading blocks, for example, which would be overall not good for everybody's well-being. So, and Kazakhstan, I think, is in such an interesting place because you're linked between the north and the south, the east and the west. Everybody talks about different corridors where Kazakhstan is a main player. So yes, I think there are possibilities for these issues. If I look at the agenda, and I think the organizers have done a fantastic job. There are more than 30 different panels and speakers. I mean, I think these issues are going to be very much front and center, and I'm very much hopeful that we'll get some really interesting ideas out of it. I mean, certainly we have the right people who are coming to the forum for this.
Okay, so share with us with your plans for a coming year.
Well, the most important thing that I'm going to do is I am going to finish my assignment here in Kazakhstan in the next couple of months, and I am putting everything in place for my successor. So that is the thing that I'm most excited about, the Astana International Forum, and then really completing this term in an Astana summer, having lived through an Astana winter.
Oh, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.